Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good evening to all of you. So let's start today's lesson. So we are studying learning how to learn, and we are on the page of 261. Okay, a few final suggestions for test success. Watch out for rut think. Once you have written as a solution to a problem, it's easy to think it must be right. When you have already gone through the test, once you have time, try to trick your mind into looking at the test again with fresh eyes. Blink and look away to try to take yourself briefly into diffuse mood. Check the problems in a different order from the way you did them. If possible, ask yourself, does this answer make sense? If you have just calculated that you need 10 billion gallons of water to fill your classroom's aquarium, something is wrong. Sometimes you can study hard, but the examination just doesn't go your way. If you have prepared carefully, however, Lady Luck tends to smile. Pause and recall and reflect. What were the main ideas of this chapter? How will you prepare differently for test after having read this chapter? Check the box when you are done. Okay, summing it up. Use a test preparation checklist to make sure you are preparing properly for test. Use the hard start technique. If you have studied well for a test, start the test with a hard problem. Then pull yourself away when you find you are getting stuck and work on another easier problem. You can go back to work on the harder problem again later in the test. You can often make more progress than if you tackle the hard problem at the end of the test when you have little time. Your body releases chemicals when you are excited or nervous. How you interpret your feelings make a difference. If you shift your thinking from this test has made me afraid to this test has got me excited to do my best, it can improve your performance, right? Breathe deeply from the belly. For a few breaths, if you feel panicky before or during a test, it's easy to make mistakes on a test. Your mind can trick you into thinking that what you have done is correct, even if it isn't. This means that whenever possible, you should blink, shift your attention, and then double check your answers using a big picture perspective, asking yourself, does it really make sense? Try to review the problem in a different order from when you first completed them. Whatever else you do, get the best sleep as you can before a test. Okay, now you try create or your own test question. A good way to prepare for a test is to try to think like a teacher. Make up some questions that you think the teacher might ask. If you want, try this exercise with a friend who is already studying for the same test. You will be surprised at how often your question match up with your friends, and you will be even more surprised at how often the question you have created show up on the test. Okay, check your understanding. So these are the questions you have to answer, right? So, yes, let's move on to the next chapter. Chapter 16. Going from have to get to. Remember Santiago Ramon y Cajal, the bad boy who became a neuroscientist? We told you he was no genius, and yet in the end he won a Nobel Prize. As we mentioned, sometimes Santiago felt bad because he couldn't learn very fast, and his memory wasn't so good. But in the end, he noticed that he had some advantages. These advantages sometimes help him to do even better than geniuses. What could these advantages have been? We'll go to Santiago's advantages soon. In the meantime, congratulations. You have worked your way through learning discoveries that will help you for the rest of your life. You have also put up with a lot of zany metaphors. Electric four-armed octopuses, pinball-playing zombies, mice in your head forest, brain links, synaptic vacuum cleaners. It's been a regular Cartoon Network, right? So you hear, right? So we are a regular Cartoon Network. So great job. You have let your imagination go to work in learning some challenging science. I hope all those metaphors helped. In this chapter, I want to revisit the main lessons of the book. After all, you know by now that repetition is one of the keys to learning. But first, I want to ask you an important question. What is the point? Really, I mean it. What is the point of all this learning? Why should you bother at all? From one perspective, we are just tiny little specks on a rock in the middle of an unimaginably vast universe. Before you read on, I would like for you to try to answer that question. What is the point of learning anything? Try to answer this as many different ways as you can. Aim for 5 reasons. Give yourself some thinking time. Find someone to explain your ideas to and see what they say. Or you could try to write your ideas down. At the very least, think through what your answer would be in your head. Then turn the page to see some ideas that people might give. Here are some of the things people might say about the point of learning. You have to learn because otherwise your mom or dad won't let you go out to play. You have to learn because otherwise your teacher will put you in detention. You have to learn because the law says so. You have to learn so you can graduate, go to college and get a job. You have to learn so you can keep your options open for the future. You get to learn so you can go and follow your passions. You get to learn so you can discover more about the mysteries of the universe. You get to learn so you can fulfill more of amazing potential each week. You get to learn so you can help humanity solve some of the world's problem. You get to learn because you are an inquisitive human being. Of course, there are other possible answers, but in a way, all of the above are true. Did you notice that what I did halfway through the list? I switched from you have to learn to you get to learn. I changed it from an obligation, something you have no choice about, to a privilege. That is something you are lucky to be able to do. It's both. You will get detention if you don't do your homework. So unless you like detention, that's a valid reason to do your homework. But it's not an inspiring reason to study. It works a lot better when you can see positive reasons for taking an interest in your learning rather than just avoiding punishment, right? See here, lucky to learn. So we find ourselves on this mysterious rock called Earth in a particular place and time, and we have probably the most advanced technology in the universe within our skulls, unless there are aliens who have even more extraordinary intelligence than you and me, in which case it will be pretty interesting learning about them. But wouldn't it be a crazy waste of our time on Earth not to make the most of the astonishing tool between our ears? So the younger you are when you learn how to learn more effectively, the longer you have through your life to enjoy the benefits. Learning is a privilege. In some parts of the world, children have to access at all to books or computers or teachers. I believe that we owe it to those people who don't have access to school to make the most of our opportunities. I want to encourage you in your learning for all of those reasons and more. After all, as Terry says, you never know when your learning is going to come in handy. Learn how to learn so you can follow your passions. But don't just follow your passions. That was my mistake when I was young. There's a lot of learning you can do that will open doors you can't yet imagine. Broaden your passion, learn and enjoy new subjects beyond the one you originally thought you could learn. You will put yourself in a better place for whatever life may throw your way. The world is changing quickly, and it's going to be changing even faster. Learning how to learn is one of the very best abilities you can have. What to do and what not to do in your learning. Now, back to the main lessons of the book. You know that recall is one of the best ways to learn. So here is my second challenge of the chapter. See if you can make a list of what you think are the main lessons from this book. You can include ideas to help your learning as well as pitfalls to avoid. What are your top 5 favorites ideas from this book? No peeking until you have got at least 5 in mind. Don't worry, if you have to strain your brain to come up with these, your attentional octopus hasn't grabbed these brain links very often yet. It's just getting used to them. Don't worry if your listening look like a little different from mine. If you have some of the same key ideas, that's what counts. Here is my list of some top ideas in the book to help you learning. Number 1, make use of both the intense, focused and relaxed diffuse mode. If you are getting frustrated, it's time to switch to another topic or get some physical exercise. Create set of brain links with practice, repetition and recall. Practice important problems so you can easily recall each step. Solutions, concepts and techniques should flow like songs in your mind. Interleave. Don't just keep practicing with slight changes in the same basic technique. Switch back and forth between different techniques. This will allow you to see when to use a technique. Books usually don't help you interleave. You will have to practice skipping back and forth between the ideas in different chapters yourself. Space out your learning. Practice over at least several days. This gives time for your new synapses to form. Right? Exercise. Exercise feeds your neurons. It also allows you to grow new and stronger synapses. Test yourself. You have others test you. Teach others. All of these are related to recall. Testing and recall are the best ways to strengthen your learning. Use funny pictures and metaphors to speed your learning. Start using memory palaces. Use the Pomodoro technique to build your ability to focus and relax. Just turn off all distraction, set the time to 25 minutes, focus, and then reward yourself. Eat your frogs first. Start your most difficult work first. That you can either finish it or take a break to let your diffuse mood help you. Number 10. Find ways to learn actively outside of your usual classes. Look online for other explanations. Read other books. Join a club. If you don't find a club in the subject that interests you, see if you can start one. And here are 10 pitfalls to avoid in your learning. Number 1. No getting enough sleep. Sleep makes your brain links stronger. Okay, so it washes away toxins in your brain. If you don't get a good night's sleep before a test, nothing else you have done will matter. Right? Passive reading and rereading. You need to practice active recall, not just let your eyes pass over through the same material. Highlighting or underlining. Don't be fooled. Just highlighting or underlining big chunks of text doesn't put anything in your head. Make brief notes about the key concept you are reading. Do this in the margin or on a piece of paper. These notes help you create brain links of the key concepts. Glancing at the solution to a problem and thinking you understand it, you need to solve the problem yourself. Cramming. Last minute learning doesn't build solid brain links. Lazy learning. Don't just practice easy material. That's like learning to play basketball by focusing on your dribbling. Use deliberate practice. Focus on what you find most difficult. Ignoring your book. If you are using a textbook in your studies, remember to take a picture walk through your book or course notes before you get going, and be sure to read about how to do problems before trying to solve problems. Not clearing up points of confusion. Are there just a few points you don't get? Chances are. So these are precisely the points that will be asked about on the test. Be sure to get help from your teacher or your friend. Distractions. Choose somewhere you can focus when you study. It's often a good idea to leave your smartphone turned off and out of reach. Okay. Chatting with friends instead of studying with them. Good study groups can be a great way to help you learn, but study groups that mostly gossip instead of study aren't much use. Now you try. You become the teacher. Terry, all, and I have shared everything we can in this book to help you learn better. Now it's your turn. Share something of what you have discovered through this book about learning. You can share with your friends or brother or sister or youngster student at your school. Young kids love learning from older students. Okay, you can even share with your parents and teachers. Tell them about All's inspiring story in learning chemistry. Draw picture, make up funny stories, talk about the memory palace technique, explain what neuron and brain links are and why they are important. Remember, everyone has struggles with their learning. If you have found ways to overcome these struggles, share them. You will remember the lesson better by teaching them, and you will have fun while you are doing it. You get to become the teacher and help someone else at the same time. Okay. So yeah, that's enough for today, inshallah. So we will continue it tomorrow, inshallah. Yeah, thank you, and jazakallah khair for listening to me patiently or for joining me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.